Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Dark Souls 3, Soul Level 1, New Game Plus 7, no damage run. This is Lothric Castle and the Dragonslayer Armour. Fall damage and poison damage are exempt from the challenge, and if you're wondering why my HP is constantly in Tear Stone range, even though I use bonfires and I get Ember Form, it's because I have used the cheat engine to mod my HP so that it stays at 30 regardless of what I do to it. I still die when I get hit and what have you, but it's a convenience so that I don't have to keep using the Mimic Head or using the Bloodlust Sword to damage myself, and it enables me to capitalise on some extra damage and kill some bosses a little bit quicker. Speaking of, we have our first enemy here trying to fell us. So we'll do a couple of axe swipes and see what he does. Try to size him up and get the advantage. And space him with sprinting, counter hit him, put him down, and then take on his buddy here with the crossbow. So I run around the back of him, get a whiffed backstab. Being close to the crossbowmen is oftentimes a good strategy, but this one has a failure for not putting on any kind of other weapon. He will aim his crossbow at you from close range, which is one of the rarer features, but it's definitely in there. So there's a guy waiting on the left here, and there's a spear guy who's just going to oppressively move forward. And the moment you don't want him to, he's going to show you just how much range he gets with that pole arm that he's using. So be very careful of him, but he will be more aggressive, the man behind the barrier there. So I make him break the barrier, he comes pushing forward. These are essentially upgraded version of the hollows in the first area of Lothric. And those themselves are just upgraded versions of the hollows that you fought in the Cemetery of Ash. They have very similar movesets, they have very similar tendencies, they're just a little bit different, and here they do a lot more damage and they take a bit of a beating. That's the only real distinguishing factors. When you go down here, there's a trap featuring 2 sets of enemies. I'm going to stop them before they can even begin, and then we'll pick up the chunk. This is a fantastic area to come to early if you want to farm chunks. Of course, that does mean beating the dancer, but she doesn't have the most life, and you can use the deep battle axe to do some good damage to her, and if you know how to dodge, you can do it. You know, you got to have faith in your skill, guys. As we rush up the stairs, dodge the guy with the giant axe, hit the bonfire, and then prepare to defend this little territory from the axe man, who is a little bit too insistent to cometh. So dodge past him, punish that recovery, and then realise that he has an incredible amount of HP, and we're actually being shot at by an archer. So we don't really want to entertain this. I'm going to back up again. He jumps foolishly. We can punish that all day. And I believe as he gets up, we can put him down with a quick chop. It'll take 2, because once again, the HP threshold is kind of astronomical. And there is the reset on the bonfire. So this took a few attempts, this guys, because there's a lot of enemies here. It's dangerous as well. When you get the axe guy and you get the halberd guy at the same time, it leads to bad things when they take as much damage as they do at the moment. So I've swapped to the cat ring to survive that initial fall. And as I push forward here, the resolution looks way different for some reason. Maybe the capture settings were different. I'm not too sure why. That might be just on my end. I hope you can't see just how piss poor the quality went. It turned into like standard definition. I can see the pixels. This is ugly. Hopefully I don't record for too long under this setting. Jesus, what happened here? Anyhow, there's the guy throwing Lloyd's talismans. I'm going to punish him. And if I've done this correctly, I will only have the axe guy. I will not have the guy with the halberd. The guy with the halberd is the dangerous one. So there goes the axe guy. We've just fought one, so we know the criteria of what's expected of us here. The thing to bear in mind, if you're going to be using my methods of kind of sprinting around attacks and then trying to backstab them, you can get caught on backswings. This game it understands that players are conditioned to backstab, and we know exactly how to do it. So they've done these things where they've made enemies have a lot of tools to counter that kind of playstyle. And all you need to do there is stay at the bottom of the stairs, wait for the dragon to taunt. When he moves his head upwards, he'll do a roar, and you can run across this courtyard without him breathing fire. It's the best way to dodge that first dragon, and it's consistent as well, as long as you do not stand in the vicinity of where he can see you, or he'll then start breathing fire repeatedly, and it gets a bit annoying. But push forward here, make sure you've got the cat ring on for this fall or you will take damage, even though once again, fall damage doesn't count, but when I'm at this level of HP, fall damage will kill me, so I'm using the cat ring for survival more than anything. And as we get up here to the courtyard that leads to the Dragonslayer armour, I'm going to hit the shortcut, and then I'm going to go through the fog, and you're probably going to see me change my equipment, because I'm going to use an interesting strategy against Dragonslayer. But before we do that, we're going to be taking on this Red Eyes Knight with the Lothric Greatsword, which is one of the most powerful split damage weapons in the entire game. I know because I used it quite a lot in PvP, and I could kill people in 2 hits from that big sword because of just how ridiculous the AR was on it. Like, when I buffed it and I had everything on, I had over 1,000 AR when I used that weapon, so I know just how capable this monster is. And he takes a pounding, so I'm going to wait for his whiffs, and then I'm going to punish with a backstab, and I'm going to go into a single hit, and then we're going to go back to this ballet of spacing him, waiting for the moves that I want to punish, and making sure I punish the moves that don't have those surprise second hits, because if he does any kind of follow-up, you have to dodge, and if you're sprinting, you'll probably jump, and you'll get hit anyway, so be very careful with this enemy. But the Dragonslayer is weak to frost, so I'm going to use the Irithel Sword, and what I figured out by just fighting this enemy is when you use Frostbite against him, he'll frost in 3 hits. Then after that, it takes more hits for it to happen. But if you can hit him with any kind of fire source, be it a flame dagger, be it a black firebomb, you can reset the limit of the Frostbite. So now that I've just got that frost off on him, I'm going to chuck a bomb at him when I get an opening, and it's going to reset the counter so I can get it again in 3 hits. And we're just going to keep getting 3 hits, Frostbite, 3 hits, Frostbite, and that's how we're going to play. My opening that I choose to take against this guy is when he does the horizontal swing. I bait the horizontal swing, I bait the second hit, and then I run around and I punish the 3rd hit by running behind him and then striking him 3 times. After this, he can drop his shield in a big slam to get you off him, depending on where you are, and if you stood in the right position, it will miss. You can then get an extra hit or 2 hits, depending on how brave you are. But it all depends on what he does afterwards. If his AI decides to do something different, you need to be on your toes, or you can get put in a really bad spot. But there's a knockdown. Do not stand anywhere close to the front of him when he does that move. It has the most bullshit hitbox. It's not as bad as Sister Freed's jumping nonsense, but it's still something that needed to be cleaned up. And I do believe if they cleaned up the Dragonslayer's AoE moves, this would be one of the best bosses in the game. But they'd have to remove the fucking butterflies because they're garbage and they add nothing. But here's the combo I want, and now the butterflies get engaged. I see the butterfly doing the blobs of doom, so I'm going to back off. I double check to see what the other guy's doing, and I kind of keep my eye on Dragonslayer. Here comes the projectile, dodge into him and get 1 hit. Here comes the ground pound. You have to be behind him some distance, because if you're too close you'll take damage. It's bullshit, it shouldn't work that way, but it does. And then here he goes doing his running attacks. So the shield bash is the best one to punish on the running attacks, because the other running attack can be followed up. But the shield bash almost never is, so it's the one you definitely want to punish. Here he goes with the forward slash. Here are the butterflies doing things, so I'm getting a little bit paranoid as to what they're doing. He comes close. I'm not too scared of him at this point. It's them that worry me. Here comes the blobs. So I'm going to roll away from them, use the cover from the side of the bridge, get very close to taking damage there against his running attack, and then we can engage him again once the left butterfly does something, and I can hear it firing shit. And just then, got pretty lucky because the explosion didn't have a lingering hitbox. But now, there should be a moment where the butterflies don't do anything for a little while, and then they start attacking again, so it's just going to be me and him. He does the jumping shield bash, I get 2 hits, and he dies. And it's a convincing fight. It went well, but there you go, they're fucking firing shit again, so I run off because I don't know how it works. And I believe, look at that, I could have got hit by that if I'd have stopped running. The moment the boss dies, all attacks should cease, evaporate, and disappear. It's just how it should work. You should never get hit by bullshit after something is dead. But that was the end of it, guys. I hope it helps if you're looking for strategies. And if you're just looking for motivation to be challenged, that is a really good fight. But the butterflies, they're going to get you a few times because they get everybody. So thank you for watching, and you take care now.